Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane. And today I have for you a 2 vs 2 on Pointe du Hoc. Yes, indeed, Pointe du Hoc. We shall be seeing two forces clash in a brutal fight, or perhaps a not so interesting and brutal fight, who knows? I suppose you'll know and then complain in the comment section, won't you, my dear viewers? Yes, you will. No, this shall be a 2 vs 2, a bit perhaps on the slightly short side, but still hopefully interesting, perhaps still having some points worthwhile pointing out, as 2 vs 2 games are such great examples of. I mean, it's very rare that I get, a highly professional 2 vs 2 game, but one can hope one might still pop up, from time to time. So let us actually have a look at who shall be fighting on here. In the Axis side, we are seeing Zeussmurf. Yes, indeed, Zeussmurf, not Apollo Smurf or Hercules Smurf. No, it shall be also be Kloetenquetscher. Not entirely sure which way to pronounce it. It's certainly a bit of an odd name, but fighting as the Panzer Fleet combined, they make the 2nd Panzer Division, or at least a force of it. Opposing them shall be Littenon and Mr. Itou. Yes, indeed, it's Itou, not Itou. It's Itou. No idea why he's saying like that, but nonetheless, they are a combined American-British task force. And again, it's not really something that happened in the war, though, and they're rather hated when there's all that. But again, it's creates some sort of unholy synergies. Of course, everybody plays with it, which tends to get a bit dull for me, because it didn't happen in the war as greatly as this. I mean, so nonetheless, a battalion of the 2nd Infantry Division combined with some Brits from the 50th Infantry Division and Infantry Brigade, possibly 13th, let's say that, and let's get right down to it. Let's get started. Pioneers on survey. Setting up the Wehrmacht quarters, nothing unusual there. Barracks going up for Itou, so of course we're probably not going to see this sort of support role from either side, which is good. We need aggression, we need, of course, fighting, we need an attempt to sort of pry open the hinges of the opponent's defenses and crash inwards. And looks like we already have the position of where the Brits might be going right here towards a low fuel point. That's a bit more peculiar. Much peculiar, in fact. I mean, there's a lot of other low points right near it, and of course there's the low point right at the center. So many low points to choose from, right? But apparently it's going to be this one only sort of high point overlooking everything. Lieutenant on the way. And whatever shall they have planning here, I don't know, but the headquarters commander is already moving towards here. But I imagine they'll be trying to sort of establish dominance here, in particular with this victory point. And of course also make it a bit harder for Zeussmurf to actually move about, because he'll then have to run through here or take a much larger detour towards here. Kettenkraut already having gone towards this point, which is a rather heavily contested point, because it rather partly controls access to the other side's resources, plus it's still one of the few high munitions point on the map. There's also this fuel point, but it's also quite a bit of way. First engagement here. Reconnaissance chaps versus some Panzer Grenadiers. Panzer Grenadiers advancing. Some Gewehr 43s. Engineers now in the trenches, though in the concrete trenches. And there we go, Panzer Grenadier snipe. Again, one thing to note. If you actually want to snipe Panzer Grenadiers, the trick might be to actually wait until there's only one man left and they're trying to retreat. Bam! And then you've just taken out an entire Panzer Grenadier team, rather in this case, of course, just making them run away faster. Sort of a small trick, and of course could easily turn things in your favor. Further Panzer Grenadiers arriving, perhaps getting ready for another assault. Volksgrenadiers in the north, securing what they can alongside the Pioneers. Another Volksgrenadier team on the way. Panzer Grenadiers once more engaging the reconnaissance section, the recce, which is rather how the Brits say it, not recon, but recce. Yes, indeed, and I'm not entirely sure what's gone wrong with him. Let's just focus on the rest. And the Brits are running away from the Panzer Grenadiers, finding away from the dense courage of some shrubbery. Well, not very dense, actually. Kettenkraut still moving about here. Lots of Americans moving into these as much as they can. Further Panzer Grenadiers coming out from Kloetenquetscher. Not entirely sure if he's going to get something else that might, be nice rather than just insane Panzer Grenadier spam. And Volksgrenadier charging right at the British base. Of course, this is the sort of thing you can have to be a bit careful about when placing it so forward, so exposed. Volksgrenadiers making the dash for some cover. Of course, again, note, cover is directional. This bit, it's actually not protecting them. I mean, standing on the other side would be helpful, but no. Lots of Americans, lots of Brits charging in. These pulse grenadiers need to get away. And my God, Zeussmurf, why are you trying to take a point right there? And retreat your pulse grenadiers. Retreat, you know, press the T key or that sort of retreat button. There we go. Know when to run, you know. Lots of Panzer Grenadiers. Some Kloetenquetscher getting stuck up right there with some pioneers joining in there. Me, apparently, sort of might be also be pinging. You can't see that actually, but for some reason he's actually pinging, just going me. I've never liked that. It actually seems such an annoying way to do it. Instead of you, I'll handle that, but for apparently just me, as though you're some sort of ecocentric twat. Nonetheless, Rifleman facing off against quite a few Panzer Grenadiers, and he's just getting more Panzer Grenadiers. I mean, how about, you know, a building? How about some half-tracks, you know, scout cars, something a bit different than just, you know, hordes of Panzer Grenadiers, which is quite expensive. And of course, there's of course the tiny detail that your opponents might decide to go for something like, saying, an armored car, and then in that case you're in a bit of trouble when you've only got Panzer Grenadiers to face off with. Rifleman charging forwards across open ground, one of the less brilliant actions, although at the same time no suppressive volleys from the Panzer Grenadiers to actually catch these Riflemen even further out in the open. Grenades getting knocked, so we're definitely not going to be expecting any armoured cars from those chaps. Skirmish phase already reached, as we can see. MP4 is being equipped. Grenades getting knocked at the Panzer Grenadiers. One team forced away. The others are still holding out against the vicious evil of the Rifleman. And apparently he's not joining in with these Panzer Grenadiers. There we go, Kloetenquetscher moving in to take over. And how many Panzer Grenadier teams have we seen now? 6 Panzer Grenadier teams with Kloetenquetscher. This is absolutely insane. Not really helpful or healthy. Rather than getting forced out by all these Panzer Grenadiers, the sheer mass of Panzer Grenadier fire as well. And this Kloetenquetscher simply got away too late. The Kloetenquetscher, not really a combat vehicle, it was actually a sort of light tractor for airborne forces. Such later on got used for taxing bits on airports to save aviation fuel, which was actually a much more expensive thing. Engineers making a run for it. Volksgrenadiers charging forward towards the center, hoping to establish 2nd Panzer Division dominance.
Attention. The enemy advances.
Brits moving towards here. Mortars emplacement to cover this area. And Volksgrenadiers facing off against Riflemen. Volksgrenadiers being caught out in the open, apparently having a bit of trouble deciding where they actually want to hide. Panzer Grenadiers moving in.
One of our sectors has been cut
And
off.
again, this me. Oh dear, it's not a good
Our supply lines are
attitude.
broken. We have territory out of supply.
It's rather again sort of focusing. I'll just do it everything rather than teamwork. You know, it would be better than I handle this than just going me. Now go again. This again. I'm not seeing any sort of indication from Kloetenquetscher. So again, I can't help but get the feel this is just someone running his own personal game, and that's rather not helpful for teamwork. In fact, it rather tends to lead some problems, since in most cases those types of people aren't exactly the best and brightest of minds, and also the ones that have the hardest time understanding why things aren't going their way, and of course even harder having a hard understanding that it might actually be their own faults. Rifleman facing off quite a sizable force. The further British troops are moving in, and looks like he might be blobbing. Oh dear, this is just a game of tragedies, of things that really shouldn't be happening with either side, but lots of blobbing, lots of Panzer Grenadiers spamming. Still not a single building, although it looks like we might be seeing something clever here, at least from Zeussmurf, going blitzkrieg and going assault. Grenades right into this horde of Brits. Killing, stunning, wounding, doing terrible things. That is what we like to see, although he will still be forced to retreat at least partially. And of course we are seeing some Panzer Grenadiers with us. Gewehr 43 upgrade, and of course they could suppress this Bren gunners. You know, that would be a clever thing to do. You know, tactics, you know, combining all the arms and abilities you have, instead of charging your Panzer Grenadiers right into the troops equipped with automatic weapons. I mean, again, you can use suppression not just on attackers but also on defenders, and in some cases, you know, just use them on the bastards with the automatic weapons. Oh dear, but there we go, the MG42 actually doing the job, which Kloetenquetscher probably should have been doing. Bunker going up for Zeussmurf, finding a comfortable company up from him. Let's go have a look at him. I mean, from Kloetenquetscher, who actually has plenty of munitions to actually use that suppressive volley, but perhaps for some bizarre reason decided he had better things to do. Interesting enough, these players are actually around level 12, but again, ranking in 1 versus 1 and 2 versus 2 is rather different. I mean, you're going to have to find much higher up on the ranking to actually get something even compatible and comparable with a rank 12 American or even player in 1 versus 1. It's partly due to the sort of mechanics of 2 versus 2 games, and sadly, you know, that some players can actually piggyback, you know, on the back of a better player along part of the way. And oh dear, Sniper getting caught out in the open. Get away, get away. No, you don't run around and cloak when there's a British horde moving in. And thankfully he doesn't get sniped. That was absolutely dangerously insane though. Still not a single Gewehr 43 volley from Kloetenquetscher, even though he's got quite a bit of munitions floating. He does have a Panzer Division command up. And there we go, Brits getting suppressed in mass. American riflemen with Gewehr 43s moving in. And again, no Gewehr 43s for these Panzer Divisions to perhaps suppress them, you know. Make it easy and allow the MG42 to survive. No, instead, riflemen moving in and lobbing a grenade down into the trench. German mortar half-track ready, though. Bombarding away. Trying its best to hit the Brits, but apparently not having much luck in that endeavor. MG42 cleared out. Not looking good at all, although Volksgrenadiers are moving in MP40s and Kar-98Ks in hand. Panzer Elite troops getting quite a bit of veterancy in the process. Riflemen advancing, tearing through the Panzer Grenadiers. Might be close to seizing that MG42. But no, they retreat instead, rather realizing they might actually not make it out. And that was a good judgment call, I wager. Otherwise, he probably just lost an entire rifleman team there with veterancy 1, which is a pretty huge waste. British medics moving in, apparently not getting shot up. And now we are seeing a 25-pounder gun howitzer. Of course, this area is still safe due to the presence of the mortar. Now the 25-pounder gun is only going to make things a lot more difficult for the Axis forces of the 2nd Panzer Division. And let's go have a look at Littenon, of the British, with his 25-pounder gun. Field support truck, and interesting enough, he's got absolutely no armor. I mean, he's got lots of infantry, lots of units, you know, blobbing up and all that, but no armor, which of course is rather would indicate that he's perhaps not the greatest tactician, you know, since he apparently can't coordinate such things, or apparently just believes, well, armor's no good. In which case, of course, he's not only a poor tactician, he's also a defeatist, because he actually rather believes there's absolutely no chance of winning against German armor. There is, if you actually know what the bloody hell you're doing. And of course, in 2 versus 2 games, again, the spot where you actually find someone who actually knows what he's doing is again much higher than on a 1 versus 1 ladder. Sad but true. I wish it was otherwise, but for some reason it just happens.
Ready to copy orders.
And 25-pounder guns blasting away. Sniper once more at the front, but will he actually be sniping so far? Only 1 kill.
We're losing a strategic location.
And apparently Zeussmurf must be floating quite a bit of resources, since, well, we are not seeing a lot. And he's actually trying to move into this territory there. Oh wait, there we go, Storm Armory. But seizing territory right under the nose of the mortar emplacement. Zeussmurf, what the bloody hell are you doing? And meanwhile, charging through in the center. Mortar half-track in a bit of trouble. Lots of Panzer Grenadiers from Kloetenquetscher. Or at least some Panzer Grenadiers. I think he's already lost 2 teams of Panzer Grenadiers. I mean, that's over 500 manpower. And he probably didn't even get much out of it. Oh dear, Kloetenquetscher, you know, a vehicle would probably have suited him better in an infantry half-track. Instead, now he's losing more Panzer Grenadiers. Retreat, retreat. Medic bunker able to pick up the wounded. MG42 flying away. Rangers have arrived from Itou. Ready to storm the Pointe du Hoc, and the sniper getting shot up. I mean, oh dear. Not looking good for the Axis at all, although it looks like he's getting a Nebelwerfer. Volksgrenadiers charging ahead. Bit dangerous right there, though. And a thing to note, assault grenades aren't that effective against emplacements. I mean, he might have well gotten the MP40s. They would actually do more damage up close. I mean, that's just a waste of munitions. But it's charging in. Volksgrenadiers will have to retreat. There we go. And the Stu-42 are rhyming to blow them up. Good, good. Grenadiers ready from here. Assaulting the Rangers. The Rangers are apparently not quite aware of this. Wait, there we go. But they are getting stunned. They are losing men. The Grenadiers do force them away in the name of the fatherland. 25-pounder gun firing away, possibly at the medic bunker. Seeing as that's been spotted as a nice priority target. Lots of mortar half-tracks. No, wait, there's an anti-tank half-track, my apologies. Stu 42 though, a bit unopposed. There's nothing that could really harm it. Not a single anti-tank weapon in the entire, well, besides the bazookas I suppose, in the entire Allied arsenal. That's not quite good though. And being forced away here, Hotchkiss light tank has arrived. 100 Panzer Battalion replacement and training has arrived. Panzer is facing off against another British blob attack. Again, not the most exciting thing, and certainly something you should always try to avoid at, since a good player can deal with it. And there we go, Panzer Grenadier is simply slaughtered. 17-pounder gun down. Or up, I mean. Stu 42 will be forced away by the might of the 17-pounder gun, and as you might have noticed, it's a pretty huge thing, which is also the reason why it can't actually be manhandled around by infantry like, say, a Pak 38. It's simply too huge and actually needs some sort of vehicle to pull it around. The Pak 40 though, actually being right in between the two and could actually be moved around, although in some types of territory it actually needed a tractor or something else to do it. And Stu 42 moving in here instead, where the 17-pounder line of fire is actually obfuscated. Of course, the huge hillside is making things a bit easier for the Stu 42. Another Nebelwerfer arriving, not a lot of infantry though for Zeussmurf otherwise. Grenadiers there seem to be forgotten. Wirbelwind, of course, indicating Luftwaffe for Kloetenquetscher, and let's actually pause the game. What is the mid-game situation? Well, currently the Allies are in a bit of trouble despite, you know, heavy blobbing for the Brits. At the same time, though, that's actually pretty much the problem. Blobbing while strong in one point actually pretty much forgets the entire rest of the map, and that's, as you might have noticed, not really helping them. And the Allied player, the American one, doing his best though, isn't really doing much either, because he then has to actually make most of the pushes while the blob is sort of running back and forth between base and not base, or wherever it is. And neither of them has actually bothered to get armor, which again they could probably gotten a lot earlier, because the other players would rather expending manpower into other things rather than things that could prepare for an armored assault, and rather that was a missed opportunity, to put it mildly. But of course now motor pool is going up for Itou. We'll of course have to see how that goes. But now the Rangers will have to face off against the Wirbelwind and the Hotchkiss and other bits. And question is, of course, will Kloetenquetscher actually be using focused fire, which apparently is a rarity amongst many players. But looks like the British position right here at this field point will be falling apart. Again, armor could have saved them a lot earlier, but sadly no. The Axis, of course, need to get their act a bit together as well. I mean, Kloetenquetscher needs to stop spamming Panzer Grenadiers, although he already has that now. He's apparently relying heavily on armoured vehicles of all sorts. And Zeussmurf also needs to get a bit more aggressive. He needs to slow down on the Nebelwerfers, perhaps get some infantry to replace what is lost. And of course, we'll continue the job here. But the Axis are overall, I suppose, doing better since they hold most of the victory points. But let us return to the fight. Lieutenant on the way from the headquarters, not perhaps the best timing since the entire place is getting bombarded. And there we go, 25-pounder gun gone. Panzer Grenadiers advancing, Rangers moving in as well. Being fired upon by the Hotchkiss. No attempt again for suppressive volley by the Panzer Grenadiers. Out around flying at the Rangers. One goes down, 3 men left. Mortar emplacement almost down, but not quite. Still no movement from here. American continuing, in fact, unopposed in the south, interestingly enough. No infantry being marched northwards. Then again, he might be realizing he can't do anything against all these armored vehicles, in which case, of course, it's a better move to just keep harassing, seizing territory. But this headquarters command truck needs to get away. Blitz moving in. Piets, other bits. Still not a single piece of armor though. Just a huge blob, which could actually be torn to bits by this 242, the Hotchkiss and all that. Then again, it could not. All depends on a lot of things. But they need to get away. They need to get away from the closeness of the Piets. Otherwise, that Hotchkiss will not survive. Artillery getting caught in. No, it's only decoy smoke. They simply don't have the munitions for it, actually. And now an armoured column moving southwards. Flak Panzer leading the way, but apparently stopping short of actually being able to hit the Americans. Brilliant. Let's go have a look at Itou. While the Hotchkiss fires, whereas the Nebelwerfers, they have the same sound actually for some reason. Lots of rockets flying, none of them actually connecting with the Blitz, but the Stu-42 does. And stormtroopers have actually arrived. And they assault in as well, my goodness. Another Wirbelwind has also arrived, forcing the Brits away. Headquarters command truck finally packing up. You need to get moving back to safer territories. Rangers moving through here. Ignoring the Panzer Grenadiers. Not really looking good for the Allies. The anti-tank gun ready. Rangers just continuing, hoping to perhaps get the slight half-tracks here. Not awfully armored, not well suited to defend against the bazooka. Rather than getting torn up by the Wirbelwind. The Wirbelwind are actually doing quite a nice job. And now those Rangers are in a bit of trouble, getting surrounded on all sides, getting shot up. That might actually be focused fire from the light anti-tank half-track. The Rangers are in fact on the run. There we go. Anti-tank are moving in without support. Get it away. Get it away. You do not move in a support weapon without something for it to support.
We have artillery support on the horn.
Something telling me he's going to lose that anti-tank gun very shortly. Like he's lost pretty much everything else. The Brit though still blobbing up. Lost his headquarters. Not helpful. And at this stage it pretty much looks like the Allies have wasted it all again due to blobbing. And as you might have noticed, the Brits keep getting suppressed while blobbing up and of course sent back packing, which of course allows the Axis to advance even further and seize even more. And of course the American commander simply just getting torn apart, having failed to go on again for armor, which could have helped against all those Panzer Grenadiers. Perhaps attempting to sticky bomb that Hotchkiss. No, he's grenading the Panzer Grenadiers.
Enemy unit.
There we go, Panzer Grenadiers team is dead, but I'm not entirely sure that will do much good in the long run. Luftwaffe troops have been pulled in to repair. Oh, fraps be nice. Apparently. Alright, looks a bit better. Hotchkiss firing away. Grenadiers advancing now, finally having something to do. Riflemen are not in a good position though, despite heavy cover. Veterans Itou, there's a light tank against them. Again, the Brits are blobbing about in the American base. Headquarters command truck finally back again. Advance from Zeussmurf seems to have stalled quite a bit. Moving forwards towards here, the Allies are really getting pasted though.
Forward supply lines are broken.
Stormtroopers holding up right there. Lots of rockets flying straight into the American base, though in this case the British are actually out of it. The American soldiers not quite so, and they are feeling the heat. And will the rockets.
Our forces are taking casualties.
Brit blob heading centerwards. Stu-42 moving in. Sappers nearby. Stu-42 collapses an old building. Stormtroopers getting shot up. And looks like the German armor assembly of Kloetenquetscher is moving northwards. Wirbelwind, Hotchkiss or not, apparently they're just ignoring, but there we go. Rocket fusillade. Wirbelwind moving in. Medic bunker getting bombarded, but clearly the Piers are not going to do enough. And why those Wirbelwinds are not acting in unison is beyond me. I mean, why isn't he coordinating the efforts of his armor instead of just moving them piecemeal, thus allowing them to be blown apart piecemeal? And a charge from the Brits. And an Nebelwerfer barrage, mortar rounds, everything else getting dropped onto this clump, thus forcing it once more to retreat. Again, not really the best situation. And of course getting exhausted on the retreat due to the Barrage. Stu 42 almost knocked out. Stormtrooper trying to save them, but the riflemen are simply too much. Tiger has arrived though.
Base is under attack.
Another anti-tank gun. His base getting simply shredded. And these Nebelwerfers are unprotected and getting torn through as well.
Points.
Chaos on all sides, I would say. And let's return to Zeussmurf, whose tigers now getting attacked by vicious kangaroos. Filled with Piats, that's actually a bit nasty. Kangaroo down though. Sappers also down. Rifleman getting fired at, might be sticky bombing that Stu 42 and perhaps finally hoping to deliver death onto this Axis war machine. As it stands defenseless. Defenseless, whatever. And there we go. Once more hanging about the kangaroos. This rather seems like a head-biting tactic, basically just trying to go for what he hopes is the lowest denominator and allowing him a victory and then just charging in. Of course the kangaroo has been nerfed, so it doesn't really work as effectively as it did previously, thankfully.
Forces are ready for blitz assault.
Artillery on the Hotchkiss and Stu 42, but is that decoy or what? Apparently it was. And lots of rockets flying at the anti-tank gun, none of them really connecting for the most part, it seems like, except what might be one. There we go. One direct hit. Otherwise the allies have pretty much been shattered.
Attention! The enemy advances. Taking heavy fire.
Stormtroopers advancing for the fatherland. Hotchkiss lost, it seems like. Anti-tank gun supporting the kangaroo charge. Stormtroopers holding the line as riflemen with several points of veterans. In fact, one team is veterancy free. And we're seeing assault again. Stu 42 rounds. Oh dear, one rifleman. Stormtrooper team goes up in smoke. And only 1 point of veterancy for most of his units. That's quite a bit odd. And the kangaroos are simply getting crushed. And the contents forced to run away. Only one remains, getting fired upon by everything that can actually fire against it. Running down the Hotchkiss. Panzer Division flying at the poor kangaroo. And I don't think it will make it. There we go, one hit to the rear and it's gone. The troops exposed to the ravages of the Virulent Flak Panzer, which is actually out of control. My goodness, both Virulents are down. Anti-tank gun stolen though. Stormtroopers getting shot up. Panzer Grenadiers with assault rifles making a run for it. Finally getting some veterancy for his armor. And Tiger on the prowl once more. But I'd rather think this is pretty much over.
5 points left. We're crushing them. We have lost them.
And there we go, a cacophony of disasters, of bad things to see and happen. Of course, not the highest level replay. I apologize, of course, but again, as I keep having to tell, apparently, I can't cast what I don't have. So if I don't have a high level replay, I have to choose something else. And I'm getting quite a few replays, which, I'm rather for the category. I'm getting flooded, in fact, for the category of Monday Novice Fight, which is actually putting a lot of pressure on that. Not so much for the rest, which is not quite good. So you know, again, I mean, if you want some higher level replays, start advertising, start getting, you know, any higher level players you know to actually submit replays. I get some from my old ones, but some of them others have apparently started their own channels and are now actually not sending in at all. So again, that makes things a bit harder. But nonetheless, I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, why not subscribe or tell your friends? And if you didn't, well, why not send in a replay of your own? Anyhow, what can we learn from this? Well, don't blob up. I mean, we pretty much saw why it didn't go right. I mean, he constantly made a movement forward, then got somehow kicked back, and then he was back to square one. In fact, worse than square one, because then the Axis would just take back all that had been taken. In fact, possibly a bit more. Plus, the base would be undefended as well. I mean, interesting positioning, but not very defended enough, which rather resulted in it getting knocked out pretty quickly. And of course, the American player really should have gone for some armor. In fact, either of them should have gone for some armor, but neither did. They stuck to infantry and simply got slaughtered. I mean, not really the most tactically apt players. And of course, again, don't spam panzer grenades in the huge amount of armor. Again, had either of them gone for even the tiniest sliver of armor, Kloetenquetscher would have been dead. Pretty much, he'd been slaughtered without mercy. Anyhow, so again, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, why not subscribe or tell your friends. Cheers.